Hey, good morning, everybody. All right, so we're back here again in the laboratory, playing around here with a few things. And tell you what we've got. This used to actually be a I believe it was a Dynamite 150. At least that's what I've seen in this type of case before. Hey, good morning, Shell. Good morning, Mr. 114 or Mr. 14A. What's going on, buddy? Got just a cute little project here. So, all right. Now, to kind of give you guys a little bit of perspective here. Of course, I know that there's not a lot of room here on the countertop. Try to get it into the picture here for you. All right. So this used to have a blue top on it. We went ahead and painted it black for the guy. I don't know if you can kind of tell. This is a very, very old amplifier, as far as the way it sets up on there. We had to modify the top a little bit and increase the amount of holes that goes in the top of it in order to be able to draw enough air into it. We wanted to try to keep it as close to original looking as we could. Customer asked for us to at least paint this black because after 35 years of owning this amplifier, he was over the blue. So, got that out of the way here. All right, so, and I wished if the customer wouldn't have already picked up, he stopped by the other day and picked up the pieces and parts from the amplifier. However, he didn't get all of it, mainly because of the fact that I hadn't got it into the bag of stuff yet. So what this amplifier used to be was a little one-tube 6LQ6 amplifier. However, it was incredibly dangerous. Matter of fact, when it came in, because of the capacitor bank that normally sits over here, this actually used what they called a quadrupler circuit. So what it amounts to, hello, Charles. So what it amounts to is, it took the AC coming in off the wall. It had a small 6-volt transformer or 6-3 transformer that ran the heater, and then the rest of it was actually stair-stepped up from the actual wall current. Some of the capacitors had failed, some of them were shorting to ground, and was causing a lot of voltage on the metal case. There again, did not have a grounded cord. So, the old cord was thrown away. No bueno. So, we went ahead and installed a 3-prong cord. This way we've got a physical ground. So, what we did was we got rid of all the hash and trash and, with the price of 6LQ6 tubes and trying to even find them. And the electrolytics for that, since they were can style, they were $40-50 a piece. And this thing had like 8 of them in there. So it was just not practical to actually do the repair on this thing. Tried to talk the customer into just building a brand new one from scratch, which we wound up doing. However, he was so insistent, and what do you say to an 80-year-old man? So what we did was we gutted the entire thing. He still loved his amplifier, wanted his amplifier. So I told him what we could do, what we could make it into, and went from there. So that's what we did. I'll turn this around here. I'll let you guys kind of get a little peek inside. Take the camera off the stand. All right, so we pulled out all the shmoo out of the inside of it, replaced the main incoming with a nice little module which was quite interesting because there really almost wasn't enough room. So this is a very, very tight fit. Matter of fact, there again, because of the size and everything, he wanted the original lights. I mean, he still wanted everything as close to original as he could. So what we had to do is we actually had to go in here and cut the back sides of the lights down, replace those with LEDs so that everything works. Built him a little 2-pill module. I don't like this camera. All right, so we replaced the module, or the single 1 tube in it, with a pair of HD 2879s. We went ahead and utilized the keying circuit that was already in there. Essentially, I just pulled everything off the board and just built completely from scratch on that. So we went ahead and utilized that as far as on the input. So this works our keying circuit, also for our fan, and for the delay. This does not have true biasing. It only has the delay. He just wanted the option of being able to have the delay for sideband, although he doesn't really talk sideband. So that was one of the things. The other side too, this all could have been done with 2 little flip switches. Again, you know, trying to keep all the original parts and components that we could. We put him a new switch in there. So essentially we've got off, which is nothing more than a secondary standby, a standby, our AM, a standby again, and then finally sideband. Delay. Like I said, rather than mine, it's just a delay. It's not actual biased. So we got that taken care of. We went ahead and retrofitted the back, got a couple of holes out. There were several mounting places. So I mean, it's just, there wasn't, unfortunately, this is the part that's not the pretty part. But we did have to go ahead and we just snapped it out with what we had. So we got that cut out for the airflow. So when the case gets pressurized, all the air is going to go through the case, down through the heat sink, and out through the back. So we got that taken care of. We made our little side plates on both sides, just using plexiglass to go ahead and keep the air and force it through our heat sink. So we did that on both sides. All right. The other thing too, we had to go back and we had to build a new metering circuit. Why? Because, well, Doc wants his meter to work. He likes seeing meters. When I'm 80 years old, I'll probably be crotchety and old too. He's been one of our local guys here for longer than I've been around. So, he's been around doing this since the 60s. Like I said, not going to tell him any different. So we'll go ahead and put this back up here, run you through the front of it here a little bit, and turn it on. All right, so we've got it plugged in, got the radios and everything on. All right, so Doc, your switch is still on, as far as you still have your main power switch. Standby. That's your AM. Go back to standby again. And when all 3 lights are lit up, now we have your sideband delay. So all 3 switches, now you're in the sideband delay format. Regular AM, you're going to see your power light and your AM light, which is white. Okay, now this was a biasing control for the 1 tube, and that's what they were using to actually vary the carrier on this. So like I said, that is now utilized for the variable on the 2-pill. All right, so let's get started. We've got our Cobra 29 bench radio that we're going to be using, hooked up to the dummy load. Get some numbers up here. I don't know if we can get it all in there. We're going to try. Just a little bit of light. Looks like I'm going to be able to run that all the way up. I'm going to have to replace my LEDs that I've got underneath the bench here. All right, so we've got our 5-watt slug in 1X position for the input, 5-watt slug in reverse for the output, 500-watt slug in 1X position for PEP, and our 250-watt slug in 1X position. Actually, there's no, yeah, that's just straight anyways. Well, good morning. Good morning, Joey. All right. So, with no further ado, we'll go ahead. Let's see where we're at our carrier going into this. All right, so we'll turn the 5-watt slug around, and we've got just a hair over 2-watt dead key going in. Now I know he's got variable wattage on his radio. All right, so turn that back around. Let's key this up. And we're showing, let's see here, 250-watt scale. We're at 30-watt dead key. Hello, audio. And about 350 on the PEP. Hello, audio. And about 110. Yeah, about 110 on the RMS. Like I said, just driving it with a Cobra 29. Input reflect. Hello, audio. About 0.3 of a watt. Output reflect. Audio. About the same, 0.3. So, pretty good there. Let's go down here to the box. Little meter here. Let's see, it's coming up to about 50 there. I can make a slight adjustment on the inside here, and we'll do that. But hello, radio, audio. So, because I don't know enough about the specifics of this meter, we've got this set up to where it's going to show kind of close to the PEP. But you know, more than anything, you just wanted the functionality of the meter, so you can see something else move. Low radio. So drop that down. Low audio. And right where we're at here, audio. That's about 250. So like I said, it's not you know, it's not entirely accurate as far as for you know, the wattage control, but you know, it's just there for looks. That's all it's for. Flip it over here to the delay. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear it in the camera or not. Hello, radio. But there's just a nice little delay there for that. We've got all the safeties put in. We've got the case bonded with our ground wire, so we know that it's going to be nice and safe for him to run. The other thing we actually had to do also is we had to put this piece of plexiglass in there. Granted, if I had a piece of aluminum, I'd have probably used a piece of aluminum as far as for a bar across here for stabilization, but it's not super necessity. You know, it's not a super necessity, but it does help as far as you know, strengthen up the back and the front. Yeah, and I'll grab both of them backwards, but you can get where I'm going at with this. So essentially what we're going to do, you know, so top back down on top of it, and show you what it looks like here with that all together real quick. Plug that, grab the top. That's going to be interesting part is putting that back on. This normally you would just slide this into the case, but unfortunately you can't do that. All right, so let's see if I can find, because I haven't taken any pictures of this yet. So I'll do that. So once I put the top on it, I don't want to take the top back off, because this is a pain in the butt. Hopefully everybody's had a great weekend with Easter and everything. I've actually had this done since day before yesterday, and that was one of the things that I never did get to. Of course, we had grass cutting party that we had to deal with. Just all the normal stuff that everybody else does, day in, day out. Got a small piece of solder here. This way you guys can see what it looks like when it's all said and done. But like I said, I'm pleased with it as far as on the overall. Very pleased with how everything turned out on this, considering what we had to pull out and what we had to modify and try to reuse. The other thing too is, since this was tube type, I don't know if you guys seen on the inside here, this is also sitting on a copper plate. There again, that's going to help draw some of the heat out. The reason why I used copper was two reasons. One, I had it. Number two, from the factory, we had these 4 holes that we had to seal off. So I actually used a bonding agent and put bonding material in between the 2 pieces and bonded the copper plate down, and then used a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place while everything down here as far as on the edges. And I did that just basically so that I didn't have to worry about it moving until it actually dried and did its thing. So it's not going anywhere, not for another 30 years anyways. So let's get this thing soldered on real quick. As soon as I get this done, we're going to call him, because he's got a good little drive to come over here. I hope I'm as spry as what this gentleman is whenever I get up to 80 years old. Joey, I haven't forgot about you, buddy. I know you've got an order sitting over here. I've got to get it in the box yet today. It will go out this afternoon, since I have to go to town later this afternoon. I didn't get out this morning, but it will go out this afternoon. I do have a box, so it's not a problem. But after I finish this video, if you want, give me a call. See if there's anything else you need that we can put in that to save some of your shipping. Like I said, normally this slides in and out, but since we had to put the fan in there in order to keep this cool, this way you guys get more of a feel for what it actually is supposed to look like when it's all said and done. Like I said, just retrofitting an oldie. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's missing a sticker. since this is no longer a Transell, maybe we need to go with a smaller sticker and just put it in the corner. Now I've got 3 different sizes of my labels. I think that's what we're going to do, is just use a smaller one. Oh, and I've had several of you guys that have asked for a long time as far as stickers, and I've kind of been avoiding that question. And the reason why is there are so many people out there that are doing dumb stuff, and unfortunately it hurts those that don't do dumb things. So the only way that I actually give out these is when you have a radio done from me or an amplifier. You know, typically if you ask, I'll send you like 1 spare or something like that. Number 1, the labels are expensive. Number 2, it's to keep people from putting labels on things that I didn't actually do and trying to market them as something I've done. So that's the reason why labels I typically just don't give out. But let's we'll get that off. So plug this in. Turn that on. And we've got some good airflow coming out the back, which is what we wanted. Alrighty. So that's what we were after, is to go ahead and get a little airflow going on. It doesn't need a huge ton of air, but it does need airflow, which is what we've got. Which is good. Why? It's going to keep his little amplifier cool. Alright guys, I appreciate it. Hopefully you know, you like this old nostalgic amplifier being put back together. Like I said, you know, it'll be a nice little driver for I think he's got a 16 fill that he's got, but I think this will be a nice little driver for him. That's what he was after. So all right folks, I appreciate it. Like I said, if you liked what you've seen today, please hit the like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.